Welcome to Ion Franchising, where you will learn the A to Z's of franchising. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Ion Franchising. As you know, I'm your host, Lance Graulich. So today we're going to get into that black gold coffee, the coffee business. So the young lady that I have today is an industry professional in coffee, has spent decades in the coffee business. So I'll let her tell you how many years that is exactly. From Ely Cafe to she was a VP at Starbucks. And now she is the chief marketing officer at a brand I'm about to tell you about. So we're going to find out what's percolating at Biggby Coffee. Welcome to the show, Miss Michele Waits. Hello, Michele.
Hi, Lance. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I am so excited to talk coffee with you and coffee franchising and about your coffee experience. So thank you so much for being here. You went to University of Michigan. Before we got on, I had to sing the song that I know so well because my brother and cousins went there. Love going to Michigan games. So where are you now, by the way? What city?
My home office is in New Canaan, Connecticut.
Very nice. Very nice. Far away from Michigan at this point.
But we still have season tickets.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. So let's talk about you and your experience. Let's go way back. You went to college for what in the first place?
So I went to college for economics, and then I tacked on a second degree in Japanese. My mom is Japanese,
Wow.
But I never spoke it growing up. And so I had the opportunity to learn it in college, and I took it.
Ohayou gozaimashita.
Yes, ohayou gozaimasu to you too.
Thank you. So what was your economics, and what was your intent? What was your plan getting out of college?
I have to be honest, I did not have a very good plan. I think I was using college as a way to kind of explore a bit. I think I found a comfortable home in economics and Japanese. And right after college, I ended up working in Japan. I was teaching English. And so that was a departure from the economics, but it was an opportunity for me to live in the country and to learn the language.
Love it. That's fantastic. So what got you into the coffee business?
I think, as I progressed in my career, I realized that marketing was a really interesting function for me to be in. I went to business school to help kind of expose me to a bunch of different career paths. I found marketing, which I thought was inherently about people and understanding people and serving them. And coffee is a great extension of all of that, because while it's a super interesting product, really it's about the experiences that people have when they're drinking coffee, whether it's in their home or they go to a coffee shop. So there's lots of different layers to coffee, which is probably what has kept me in the industry for the last 15 years.
I love it. Coffee is definitely a big part of my morning and sometime afternoon, depending on how much work I have to do.
How the day goes, yeah.
Exactly. It's my friend. So give me your first big coffee job. What was that and how did that come about?
My first coffee job was at Starbucks. I have primarily a CPG background. I've done, CPG as an industry for almost
consumer products. Is it consumer?
Yes. Yes. Consumer packaged goods. Sorry, too many acronyms. Consumer packaged goods. So mostly, sold through the grocery channel. And Starbucks had a grocery business. And so because of my background, that's where I joined. And had a great experience growing that business. And then I found Starbucks to be such an interesting company because so much of the brand was built outside of grocery, in the retail cafes. So it was my opportunity then to move from that channel into what we called retail. First that was on tea, and then I moved to coffee and had an opportunity to move to Hong Kong to manage the brand, product development, digital marketing, loyalty in 14 Asia Pacific markets.
Pretty darn impressive, Michele.
Thank you. Very interesting, and I've been just lucky to have opportunities, within the house of Starbucks, let's say.
Love it, love it. So what happened after Starbucks?
So after Starbucks, we moved our family from Hong Kong back to the U.S. We moved to the East Coast, which is where I am right now, in Connecticut. And I was lucky enough to find Ely Cafe, which is based here in the New York area. And what Ely was what I found really fascinating about Ely is it's very, very big in Italy. It is still small and growing here in the US, but
Yes.
I mean, a brand that is packed with so many interesting elements to it. Fantastic quality coffee, such a commitment to sustainability, and really beautiful coffee experiences.
Yes.
And so that was my discovery at Ely.
I love it. Well, I wanted to take a little trip down memory lane as we both have our coffee in our hands
Yes.
to discuss your history. And now we talk about the exciting reason that you're here now, the new Chief Marketing Officer for Biggby Coffee. So tell us all about Biggby, how this whole thing came about. Biggby is a great franchise opportunity, 300 plus stores, 340 or so right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So tell us about Biggby.
So Biggby Coffee, I think, is quite well known within its what I'll call home market, certainly of Michigan and some of the surrounding areas. In fact, if I walk through the Detroit airport wearing my Biggby gear, I'm always either stopped by someone or someone will say to me, "Oh my gosh, I love that brand." And I think that's what, as a marketer, I find really fascinating is when people have such a strong reaction or feel an affinity for a brand. And I think that's really the magic of Biggby, is because people have a great experience in the store and they start making it a part of their daily ritual. I think that's really where brands are born and brands are built. What we aspire to do at Biggby is to obviously expand that beyond where we are currently.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, myself being a franchise broker, there are a lot of people that ask me, what big brand that's really well established do you have for me? And I said, well, when brands are too well established, it's kind of difficult to get a franchise. I was an earlier franchisee of Wingstop, and by the time I got into Wingstop, when nobody knew what it was, by the time I opened my first store in Las Vegas, everybody was calling corporate, asking for a franchise in Vegas, but I bought a whole county. So I always tell people, you got to get in early, but Biggby is certainly an incredibly strong regional player in certain areas and will soon enough be a national player. And you got plenty of opportunity. That's what's exciting about Biggby. You guys have a proven history and it's super, super exciting. So where are you most established right now? I didn't cheat and look at a map before this call, so.
Did such a fantastic job of actually telling the Biggby story and the opportunity. Definitely Michigan. So we are quite well penetrated within Michigan. Of course, there's still opportunities to grow there. But what we aspire to do is to expand beyond that market. And exactly to your point, I think we consider Biggby to be, on one hand, established. It has a business model that's successful.
Yes.
And you can rinse and repeat that, over 300 times.
You have proof of concept. I talk about proof of concept all day. You obviously have that.
Yes. And yet we still have opportunities to grow geographically, but also just in really sharpening up and articulating our points of difference. There's a lot of heavy lifting that's done in the stores, creating the experience, happy customers. But what we also want to do from a marketing standpoint is provide some of that air cover and make sure that we're supporting those businesses with some more traditional marketing.
Wonderful, wonderful. So when you talk about and you compare, let's say, Biggby to other franchise brands or even like Starbucks, that is not a franchise organization. They do some licensing, as you certainly know. But what is the secret sauce, if you will? I use that universally, not even just talking about food concepts, but any business for that matter in franchising. What is the secret sauce to Biggby compared to others you might want to compare to?
I think number one, it really knows who it is as a brand. I think this is a purpose-driven organization, and the purpose is to support you in building a life you love. And that extends first and foremost to our franchise community, and then of course to the corporate office and anyone who comes in our stores. That's part of it. And I think the second one is being really ethical and supporting farmers in the coffee business, having a name, a face, and a place to every pound of coffee that we buy. I think that's sort of the essence of the brand. And I think the clarity of that is helpful. I think the second part of the secret sauce is a successful business model, to what you already eloquently said, Lance. And then I think the third one is just that we have so much greenfield in front of us. We are a fairly established company in some ways, and yet we still have an entrepreneurial spirit, and we have an aspiration to really spread the word, if you will, to new markets.
Love it. Fantastic. And it's always wonderful because I'm sure you have people that own just one location, and then you have quite a few multi-unit operators that are building their empires, so to speak.
Yes, we have a handful of multi-unit operators, to your point. And so right now we have, I would say, a diverse community of franchise owners. And I think great support, regardless of how big or small you are. There is a support system in place for you.
Yeah, and I'm sure the training is rather intense. But let's talk about, we could talk about training, but I definitely want to dive into marketing, because a lot of people ask me, why do I need a franchise? Why should I look at franchise opportunities? And I say, well, do you want to do it all on your own? Do you want to create your own team? There's already a team in place. The question isn't, is a franchise right for you? The question is, which franchise is right for you? So when it comes to marketing, that is certainly your big area of expertise. What can a new franchisee count on from, call it the, pre-grand opening, grand opening, post-opening? How do things change? And I'm sure you're still working on some of these plans because you're newer to the brand, but you certainly know all this. So I'm dying to hear this.
I think one of the headlines I would give is flexibility within a framework. So certainly we provide grand opening toolkits and plans, and a little bit of a suite of options just based on the experience that we have. And so we will consult and we will share what we think is right for your situation, but you have some flexibility within the framework, because what's beautiful about having franchisees, nobody knows their market. Nobody knows the consumers better than the franchisee.
Yes.
So I think that sort of flexibility within a framework is really important. The air cover, if you will, I'm just kind of using the, that analogy, is we do have a brand with very solid awareness in the markets that we've been in, plus a commitment to helping you build your market with some investment on both of our parts. And we already have a social media footprint of about 150 followers on Facebook. We're starting Instagram with about 30,000. We have over 1 million people who visit our website every month.
I think you said 150. 150,000?
Yes. Followers on Facebook. Yep.
Got it.
About 30,000 on Instagram, and that's growing, certainly in importance and in our followers. And then we have about 600,000 active members. E-wards is what we call it, rewards, e-wards, database of active members, and over 1 million people who come to our website. Now, we are aspiring to make that much bigger, of course, and much stronger, but you already start with that footprint.
Love it. Yeah, social media, I tell people all the time, I can't believe the reach of social media, especially when it comes to food-related brands. People, there's something about food, coffee, anything with an aroma or an experience that pops on social media, especially on Instagram and TikTok these days as well.
If I may, yes, I
Yeah,
wanted to pounce on the TikTok thing for a second.
please.
Recent data from Mintel had shown that our generation got most of its coffee information from coffee houses. Like, we learned a lot by going to some of the coffee houses and seeing what was there. Now, almost half of Gen Z coffee consumers, coffee lovers, are getting their information from TikTok. So as a manufacturer or a franchisor, we're not necessarily the ones who are setting the trends. We are looking at what's happening in TikTok, exactly, and trying to keep up to a certain extent. So its importance can't be underestimated.
Yeah, innovation is everything, and I love that Biggby is obviously doing everything that they can, hiring someone like you as the big shot behind marketing. It's pretty amazing. So let's talk about the investment. This isn't a huge investment like a typical freestanding McDonald's or anything like that, but it's a sizable investment. So what is that investment range? I know there's always a range. For those of you listeners that have never heard this show before and never looked at franchising, every franchise disclosure document in the item 7 is going to have a range. What is the low end? What is the high end? And obviously construction could change that dramatically when you're building a restaurant type concept. So Michele, what is that roughly?
That range is anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000.
Gotcha.
Lance, I'm probably going to want to just check that and make sure. And if that needs to get edited, I may come back to you.
Got it. Let me stop real quick. I'm going to clap for my guys so they know where to edit. So Michele, regarding the typical investment, well, being that Biggby is in my portfolio, in the FranServe portfolio, I happen to see here that looks like 2022 data that will be updated shortly for 2023. A low of 320,000 to a high of about 517. That's including the franchise fee as well as some level of working capital. So that is a pretty fair investment for a coffee brand, because this isn't a freestanding fast food giant, so to speak, that is millions of dollars usually, especially when it comes to land acquisition. So who are your franchisees normally? All walks of life, I presume?
Yes, all walks of life for sure. I think where we see a lot of success is in folks who are deciding that they want to change a career at some point, and they want to leave maybe an industry career, healthcare career, education career, maybe leaving the military and looking to set out on their own. And to your point, I feel like the investment is significant, right? It's significant for an individual. So, this is something they're taking really seriously, but it's also not, at the higher echelons. And it's a place where if you are making a career shift, it is doable.
Yeah, you know what, Michele? What is fabulous about franchising is when you're on the SBA registry and you can get an SBA loan. I mean, you could put down 20, 25% and you're in business. So even at 500,000, you just need about 100 grand plus a little working capital to get in the Biggby Coffee business, assuming you're approved and worthy. Franchising, I always tell people, is a two-way street for sure, but assuming Biggby likes you and they, you like them. So let's talk more about your awards now. I have a whole list here: Entrepreneur Magazine, Franchise Business Review. So when you were going through the interview process, were you like, because look, you've been with Ely, you've been with Starbucks, and neither one are franchise organizations per se. Biggby is certainly more of a pure play, what I call a pure play franchise system that gives anyone the opportunity to get into the coffee business. So when you saw these awards, you were probably like, wow, this is a serious contender for an amazing national brand, right?
Absolutely. And I think what you've hit on is my journey, my sort of educational journey into franchising. when I was doing my research, my impression was, well, you probably have less control if you are in a franchise situation. And what I've come to totally flip that to, what an opportunity to learn so much from people who are on the ground with such diverse backgrounds, but they are so committed to running their own business. And I am so proud to work for a brand that supports local and small business owners in bringing Biggby Coffee to life across the country. So I couldn't be more proud to be in the franchise business for those reasons. And yeah, it did seem to me when I was looking at Biggby that they already had something that they had figured out.
Yeah, as much as franchise brands legally have every right to control everything from uniforms to product to mode of operation, all these good things, it's certainly beneficial to the brand to make sure you stay, as you can appreciate on the marketing side, within those guardrails, so to speak. And but collaboration is one of the biggest pieces when it comes to joining a franchise system. I tell people all the time, McDonald's didn't invent the filet of fish and the Big Mac. The franchisees of McDonald's, because of collaboration, ended up doing that.
It does not surprise me at all. That's a great example of, I think, being open and listening. And who better than the franchisee on the ground, boots on the ground every day, to really understand the consumer.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of your targets now that you're new with the brand? What are some of your goals for 2023 and beyond?
We are looking to grow our store footprint. And so some of our targets are to, again, try to bring in new franchisees into the fold. But we're also looking to grow our transactions and our core business within the footprint that we have. So certainly making sure that more people really know the Biggby story and, picking the right media, making the right investments to tell that story, is certainly a target. Mm-hmm. Continuing to invest in digital properties that help us to personalize our marketing and get closer to our customers, is the second. And the third one is to create the right pace and to innovate, do product innovation in the right areas.
Love it. One thing I didn't ask you as of yet is, as far as the Biggby stores, how many different models are there? Is there an airport model versus a drive-through model versus, how do you guys do it?
Yeah. At this point, we're looking at, certainly there's the lobby only model. There's the, come and sit, full service cafe model. There's the drive-through. There's the hybrid of the lobby and the drive-through. And then we've also got something called B Cubed, which is a really innovative, interesting sort of modular system that allows very quick construction of a Biggby on a small footprint.
Is it like, what do they call it? Like a shipping container type thing?
It's sort of, I don't know that it's made of.
It's a modular deal.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's called B Cubed and it's a modular system. Yes.
Love it. Love it. I have to take a look at that. That sounds exciting.
Yeah. So
what are your target markets as of now? I know we mentioned Michigan is hot and you're expanding, and typically the way any amazing brand expands is, you have the reach of your neighboring states until you're across the country. Yeah. So what are some of your hot target markets these days?
Well, we are proud to be in Florida. We've started our expansion into Florida and into Georgia, into Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, and we are also expanding into Cook County, Illinois. So we are excited about those. I think that's what I'm at liberty to share at this point. But yes, we are. I don't
want you to give away secrets. A lot of people hear this.
I can't give away the company secrets, but I think we are very strategic. Try to be very strategic about the markets that we're entering and really commit once we're in.
Gotcha. Well, perfect. Any final thoughts and words of wisdom about franchising in general? I mean, look, you're in the franchise world now. What are some of your observations and thoughts? How do you know who's right for Biggby? You know, what are your thoughts on all those fun things?
I think I'm proud of the brand and what we stand for, and I think some people really resonate with that. You know, for some people it may not be as important, and so I do think finding a fit. Not every brand is right for everyone, and so if you really resonate with the things that Biggby stands for, then you know that you're half the way there. I would also say that I think franchising is such a fantastic opportunity to be your own boss, to be an entrepreneur, and to really build something that contributes to a community. And what I would say is that Biggby is here to support you. And again, this is the vision of the company, is we exist to support you in building a life you love. And so, I mean, what better way, I would say, to bring someone into the franchise business than with that type of introduction.
I love it. Well, Michele, I appreciate you sharing your coffee wisdom, your marketing wisdom. And for those listening, Biggby's obviously an amazing opportunity. I get asked practically daily, I want to get into the coffee business. What is the best franchise for me to do coffee? Well, Biggby is certainly an amazing opportunity that is hot right now and might not be around as a franchise option as the country starts to sell out pretty quickly. 340 locations strong. Thanks for listening today. And Michele, thanks for being here. Thank you very much for listening today. Please like, follow, and subscribe. This is Lance Graulich. Until next time.